I'm a hospital night guard, been doing this job for over 15 years. I've seen more than my fair share of life and death play out under these fluorescent lights. I've seen bodies wheeled out under stark white sheets, their journey over. I've watched families break down, their grief echoing in empty hallways at 3 in the morning. It's a time when the world is asleep, but in a hospital, sorrow never rests. I've stood next to patients, watched them breathing 1 minute, and then, just like that, they're gone. This all happened on a night I was temporarily reassigned. The only instructions I got were simple, but they carried a weight I couldn't quite place. And don't go inside unless you absolutely have to. That warning felt strange, unsettling. Why wouldn't I go inside? It was my job to check the wards. At the time, I just brushed it off. I figured it was just old hospital rumors, ghost stories people make up to haze the new staff or pass the long, quiet hours. There was something else underneath it, something older. It was cold, damp, like freshly turned soil after a heavy rain. It clung to the back of my throat. that something underneath that sheet was breathing. The fabric seemed to move, just barely. A slow, steady rise and fall. I stopped walking. My blood ran cold. I switched on my flashlight, the powerful beam cutting a sharp circle in the dimness. I took a hesitant step closer to bed 9. I needed to be sure. My job was to ensure patient safety after all. I reached the side of the bed and aimed the light directly at the sheet. It was flat, completely, perfectly flat and still. There was no one there. I quickly scanned the room, my flashlight beam jumping from one empty bed to the next. Then my light landed on bed 6. The elderly woman's eyes were wide open, and she was staring straight at me. Her gaze was intense, filled with something I couldn't decipher: fear, a warning. "Ma'am," I said, my voice trembling slightly. I tried to force a calm, professional tone. "Are you all right? Did you need something?" Her pale, chapped lips moved, but the voice that came out was not the weak, frail sound I expected from her. My breath hitched in my throat. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. I was frozen in place, a primal fear taking over every cell in my body. My training kicked in on pure instinct. I stumbled backward, fumbling for my radio, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I pressed the transmit button, my voice coming out as a panicked rush. "Control, this is night security. I have an unauthorized individual in Ward C. I need immediate backup. Please confirm patient manifest." The radio crackled, the static momentarily clearing. A familiar voice from the control room came through, but his words only amplified my terror. "Night security. Repeat your location." "Ward C," I yelled. "I'm in Ward C." There was a pause. Then the voice came back, laced with confusion. "Ward C. Tom, that's not possible. There are no patients assigned to Ward C tonight. That wing is empty." At that exact moment, the humming lights overhead flickered once, twice, and then went out completely. The entire ward was plunged into absolute, suffocating darkness. The only light left was the wavering beam from my flashlight. And in that solitary beam of light, as I swung it wildly around the room, it caught something near bed 9. And they were hanging upside down, suspended just inches above the polished floor, swaying gently in the silent, black air. My memory of what happened next is a complete blank. It's a black hole in my mind. I don't know if I screamed. I don't know if I ran. Maybe I just collapsed right there on the cold floor. All I know for certain is this: when I finally came to, the sun was rising. For a few seconds, I honestly thought I had dreamed everything. Ward C. I had to know. I had to ask. "Excuse me," I said, my voice a little shakier than I intended. I held up the access tag. "Then, what's this?" His expression changed instantly. It wasn't fear, it wasn't shock. "You gave me the assignment," I insisted, my own voice rising. "Ward C, you sent me there." He stood up, walked over to the office door, and locked it. Their charts didn't show signs of cardiac arrest or any other medical emergency. They were just found in their beds, unresponsive. Eyes wide open, mouths stretched into a silent, frozen scream. Every single one of them. Doctors ran every test imaginable. The police were called in multiple times. Autopsies showed nothing. No foul play, no unknown toxin, no logical explanation. But the hospital staff, the nurses and orderlies who worked the night shifts, they noticed something, a disturbing pattern. Every patient who died in Ward C had complained about the same thing. Bed number 9. They said they heard breathing coming from it, whispers in the dark, the rustle of sheets and movement, even when the bed was completely empty. One junior nurse, just a kid really, claimed she saw someone lying upside down on that bed, staring at her from beneath the metal frame. But she survived longer in Ward C than anyone else who had reported strange occurrences. They'd ask, "Who doesn't sleep?" And she would just point a trembling finger toward the empty bed across the room. Bed number 9. One night, a new security guard, just like me, was assigned to watch over Ward C. By morning, both the guard and the woman were gone, vanished. No signs of a struggle, no blood, nothing. Just 2 empty, perfectly made beds. Ward C was permanently sealed the very next day. I felt my mouth go completely dry as my supervisor finished the story. My hands were shaking. "What about last night?" I asked, my voice barely audible. I was there. Someone spoke to me. I saw someone in bed 6. He wouldn't look at me. He just stared at the wall behind me. I let out a nervous, disbelieving laugh. "That's not funny." His were filled with a deep, weary dread. He pointed at the tag I was still clutching. "That tag you're holding, it only appears when someone has been invited inside." That night, I tried to leave work early. I couldn't stand the thought of being in that hospital after dark. I made up an excuse, said I was feeling sick, which wasn't far from the truth. I was packing up my things, ready to run out the door and never look back. But then, around 2:10 a.m., it happened. A familiar sound cut through the silence of the empty locker room. Static, coming from my locker. My radio, the one that had been dead all day, had turned on by itself, same channel as last night. And then a voice came through, a voice I recognized immediately. It was old, weak, frightened. The woman from bed 6. "Guard," she whispered, her voice crackling over the radio. "He's standing now." I froze, my heart hammering against my ribs. I grabbed the radio, my hand trembling. I locked the doors. I stammered into it. "Ward C is sealed. You're not there. You can't be." The radio crackled again. Her whisper was even more urgent. "He followed you," she said. slowly, unnaturally. Bed 9 wasn't just a bed. But I just stood there, frozen. The lights flickered again, and for a brief, terrifying second, the entire hallway plunged into darkness. There was just the sound of something breathing wrong, a wet, labored sound that didn't belong in a hospital or anywhere else for that matter. I started backing away slowly, one step at a time, until my shoulders hit the cold wall behind me. My heart was pounding so hard against my ribs, I thought the sound alone would give me away. But I could feel the vibrations through my whole body. "Who are you?" I whispered, my voice barely audible, shaking. The thing stopped moving. Its head, which had been hanging down, began to twist slowly too far, too smoothly for any human neck. It turned and turned until its face was completely upside down, staring right at me. Not me. He was older, with a different face I'd never seen before. But he was definitely one of us. His mouth opened, a dark, gaping hole in his upside-down face. And from it came a voice I had already heard twice over the radio. A distorted, static-filled whisper that said, "You shouldn't have taken the tag." I honestly don't remember how I got away. The next few moments are a complete blur. I don't remember turning round, or fumbling with doors, or even screaming for help. The next clear memory I have is standing in the main security office, shaking so badly I couldn't even manage to sit down in a chair. But the supervisor was there again, waiting. He was just standing there by his desk, as if he knew I would eventually come running back, terrified. "You saw him," he said. It wasn't a question. "He used to work here," the supervisor continued, his voice calm and low. "Night guard, same shift as you." I finally found my voice and asked him what happened to that guard. He hesitated for a long moment, then unlocked a drawer in his desk and pulled out a thin file. There was no name on it, just a date from 6 years ago. The report inside was brief. The guard had been assigned to Ward C during its final week of operation. He had reported strange noises, complaints from the few remaining patients. On the third night of his patrol in that ward, he stopped responding on the radio. He was upside down, alive, but not breathing normally. The doctors who examined him were baffled. Bed 9, as it happened, sat directly above a sealed, forgotten shaft that led deep into the earth. He told me that when patients in that ward were at their weakest, dying alone, and terrified something from beneath that shaft would listen, most of the time it just watched, a silent observer from below. But when a guard entered that space, someone who walked the empty halls at night, someone who stood as a sentinel between the rooms, someone who remained awake while everyone else slept. That's when it chose. That night, I tried to quit. I put my radio, my badge, my keys, everything on the supervisor's desk. I told him I was done. He didn't try to stop me. He didn't argue it. He just said one thing as I was walking out the door. If you hear breathing when you re-alone, don't answer it. I went home. I didn't even try to sleep. I just sat in my dark living room, staring at the wall, replaying every moment. Then, at exactly 3:09 a.m., I heard it, breathing. Right there in the room with me. You don't have to be in the hospital once you're chosen. Bed 9 comes to you. After that night, I stopped pretending this was just fear. Something had followed me home. Not in a way I could see, but in a way I could feel. Every single night, at exactly 3:09 a.m., I would wake up. There was no alarm, no noise from outside, just my eyes snapping open on their own. And every single time, the room felt wrong. The air was heavier, thicker, like gravity had decided to shift slightly right over my bed. All the sounds from outside, the distant hum of the city, felt stretched thin, distant as if the entire world was holding its breath, waiting. And that S when I remembered what the old security supervisor told me on my first day at the hospital. His words echoed in my mind. If you hear breathing when you're alone, don't answer it. It seemed like a weird, nonsensical rule at the time, just another bit of hazing for the new guy. I'd laughed it off. I wasn't laughing anymore. The first few nights after I quit, I heard nothing. It was just the unsettling wake-up call and the heavy, oppressive silence. I tried to convince myself it was just stress, my body reacting to the trauma of that last shift. Then, on the fourth night, it happened. Breathing. It wasn't loud. It wasn't even close, at first. It was a faint, wet sound coming from somewhere above me. I found myself staring at the ceiling fan, watching its blades turn slowly, methodically, a single point of focus in the terrifying darkness. You're awake. I just need you to stand, he said, his voice a disembodied whisper filling the room. Just like you used to. Time for your rounds. I stayed completely still, my heart hammering against my ribs so hard I was sure he could hear it. The room grew colder, an unnatural chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. The air crackled with a palpable anger. Something pressed down on the mattress near my feet, a heavy weight, but with no shape, no form. It was just pressure. You don't belong here, the voice snarled, losing its calm demeanor. You belong where I am. I didn't respond. I just lay there, frozen, reciting the rule over and over in my head. Don't answer it. Don't look up. Minutes passed. Or maybe it was hours. Time seemed to stretch and warp in that room. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything stopped. The immense pressure lifted from the bed. The cold air warmed. The breathing faded into nothing. I waited, listening to the frantic beat of my own heart until I dared to open my eyes. Ward C was supposed to be sealed off, a forgotten wing. He told me that at exactly 3:09 a.m., the hospital is at its quietest. That's when the barrier between our world and wherever that thing is from is at its weakest. And that's when bed 9 aligns. The moment you respond, he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. I asked him what happened to the other guards, the ones who had worked there before me. I went home and locked my bedroom door. I covered the mirrors with towels. My every instinct screamed at me to kick, to yell, to look. I almost broke. I almost gave in. I whispered, so quiet it was barely audible, just 3 words. You can't have it. The room was just a room again. My room. I looked at the clock. 3:10 a.m. The next morning, as sunlight streamed through my window, my phone rang. I looked at the caller ID. It was the hospital's main line. My heart sank. With a shaking hand, I answered. A cheerful, unfamiliar voice, a nurse, spoke on the other end. Hi, just calling our on-file staff to let them know. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Stay safe. When the nurse said Ward C is open again and there's a new bed, the call disconnected. I stared at my phone for a long time. I already knew what that meant. Bed 9 had finally been filled, not with a patient, with a replacement. I didn't go back to the hospital right away. I just sat there, trying to convince myself that if I ignored it, if I pretended it wasn't happening, it would all just stop. It didn't. At exactly 3:09 in the morning, my phone buzzed again. It wasn't a call this time, a message. No number, no contact name, just 3 words. Your shift starts." The breathing began immediately after. It wasn't coming from the ceiling or from the hallway like before. Slow, heavy, wrong. It felt like my lungs were working, but something else was breathing through them. It doesn't chase you. It doesn't hunt you down. It just waits. It waits for you to accept that you belong to it. I went back to the hospital just before sunrise. No one tried to stop me. The halls were silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that presses in on you, that you can feel in your ears. The sign for Ward C was clean. The paint was fresh. The lights above it were new and bright. It looked as if it had never been abandoned, never been sealed away. It was standing upright in its usual spot. No mattress, no sheet, just an open, empty metal frame, like a doorway that had been folded into the shape of a bed. "Once you step past this point," he said, gesturing toward the ward, "you won't hear us anymore." I asked him why he never warned me properly, why he let me take this job knowing what was here. He finally met my eyes, and for the first time I saw genuine fear in them. "Because if we explain too much," he said, his voice barely a whisper, "it notices it." As if on cue, the breathing returned. Louder now. It was definitely coming from bed 9. I saw movement beneath it. Not someone climbing out, but someone being turned, limbs twisting the wrong way, a body adjusting to a position it was never, ever meant to hold. And it was upside down, its chin pointing toward the ceiling. "That's who replaces you," the supervisor said quietly, his gaze fixed on the bed. "Or you replace him. We never really know which one comes first." In that moment, I realized the guards before me, the ones who supposedly just vanished, they hadn't disappeared. They were still working. Still standing watch, just from the other side. I took a step back, my mind screaming at me to run. For the first time, the thing in bed 9 reacted fast. The metal frame shook violently. The lights overhead flickered wildly, casting the room in a strobe of light and shadow. The voice changed, it became deeper, layered, with other voices, no longer even pretending to be human. I remembered the rules, the unspoken rules. You don't respond. You don't look up. I unclipped the security tag from my shirt, and I placed it gently on the floor, right in front of bed 9. "I quit," I said. The ward went completely silent. No breathing, no movement. Then the lights exploded. Not shattered into pieces, they simply vanished, plunging the room into absolute darkness. When they came back on, I was lying on the grass outside the hospital. It was morning. I could hear birds, the distant sound of traffic. The sun was warm on my face. The wing that held Ward C was gone, not sealed off, not hidden, gone, as if it had never been there. The hospital later said that entire section had been demolished years ago after a fire. No one remembered my supervisor. No one recognized my name from any employee records. It's like I never worked there. But sometimes at 3:09 in the morning, when I'm awake and the room is quiet, I hear it. The breathing. It's not close. It's not far. It's like it's coming from somewhere that's just waiting. That's why I'm recording this, why I'm telling you this story. Because Ward C doesn't die, it just retires people, and one day it will post another opening.